Okay, so here we are. It's almost Tony time. It's Tony week. We have to get through this list of nominees, and we have to help our readers figure out who's going to win in these categories. And let's start by saying that we are here to make predictions about winners. We're not here to say who we like in each category. We have a lot of friends on this list, friends in the community, Broadway friends. We are here to make some cold, hard predictions. So that is the task at hand. So, and we're gonna guess, and we're gonna help everyone win their office pools and their party pools. Make some money on the Tonys. Ready? Okay. Let's start with a good one. Let's talk about actor in a musical, leading actor in a musical. Who thinks Billy Porter is gonna win the Tony?
Billy does literally everything you can do in a Broadway show in that show. It's the epitome of like a great, well-rounded Broadway performance. And it's the only one on the list that jumps out to me as give me a Tony for this role.
Although I love Billy and I loved his performance, I have to say that, I mean, Bertie is unrecognizable. This role is just such a far cry from who he really is, and when he gets up there, he just owns it. He's got the audience in the palm of his hand.
I think the term tour de force, I think, gets overused sometimes, but I think Bertie Carvel actually gives a tour de force performance.
I do want to shout out Rob McClure in Chaplin because I love his performance, and I think if Chaplin were running, I think he'd be the front runner because I think what he did in that show was pretty incredible, along with these other gentlemen.
I think this is a really tight race, and I think it's between Billy Porter and Bertie Carvel. And I would give it probably to Billy Porter just because it's a tour de force performance. I think Billy's going to take it in the end.
Okay, this is definitely a good race, so let's make our prediction. Let's talk about the play revival race. Who wants to make a call on this? Marc.
I think the best revival of a play will absolutely go to Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Everybody loved it. The only thing I could see beating it would be The Trip to Bountiful, which has a ton of celebrities in the cast, has a great performance by Cicely Tyson.
I think if Golden Boy were running right now, Golden Boy would be
I thought Golden Boy
up
was
there
beautiful.
with Virginia Woolf. It was so beautiful, but I think there's nothing that can take away from the Virginia Woolf fever that was this season.
I agree. I think that Golden Boy would have won if it was running, but Virginia Woolf.
So let's this doesn't seem like a sort of race. Let's figure out. Everyone, pick your favorite, and we'll tally them. Let's go to choreography.
I think this is Peter Darling's race to lose for Matilda. I think he's giving a lot of nods and a lot of winks to other choreographers, especially like Spring Awakening with Revolting Children towards the end. But I think working with all of those children who pull off every number beautifully. It's creative, it's very winking, it's innovative, it's a lot of fun. I think I went away from that wanting to do all of the same moves that all of the children were doing, and it's a blast.
I don't see how Jerry Mitchell won't win.
Interesting.
With the boots and the assembly line and everyone's moving, everyone else may be thinking about Pippin. And I love Pippin, but that's a lot of Fosse in there.
Pippin is tricky. It's one of those hard things to figure out what's Fosse, what's recreated. Although for Chicago was also recreated Fosse, and it did win the Tony, correct?
Which makes me think that Chet Walker will win. It's very dazzling to see that Fosse choreography, even though we don't know where the line is between Fosse and Chet Walker.
And Jerry he got his first Director of a Musical nomination this year. Obviously, he created Kinky Boots.
Right.
So it could be a way to honor Jerry. Andy Blankenbuehler did some amazing. I mean, if you're just talking about pure dazzle, I mean, in terms of the Bring It On, what he did in Bring It On was. I know you're a big Bring It On fan.
I'm
Marc.
a big Bring It On fan. I would love to see Andy Blankenbuehler pull out an upset, but I feel like everybody's talking about Pippin and everybody's talking about this choreography, which is this really great hybrid of circus tricks and traditional musical theater choreography. So you really can't go wrong with Chet Walker in this race, I think.
Okay, pens to paper. Let's make our call on that one. Okay, let's talk about featured actor in a musical. Why not?
I'm going to say that Gabriel Ebert is going to win.
Hilarious in Matilda.
Amazing. But Terrence Mann, who's a very big favorite in the community, who's done a lot of shows, who's been robbed for a lot of shows, he could upset it.
Even though Terrence Mann has a lot of fever and Gabriel Ebert steals the show, you never know with the Tonys, and I think that Charles Brown might for Motown might just pull it out because they like to surprise us every once in a while, and it wasn't honored in other ways.
And he has the best smile in town. Every award event, he's
And
just like the
voice.
happiest guy.
Pearly whites.
These featured categories are interesting because it can kind of just go in
Anywhere.
any direction
Anywhere.
with any of these guys.
I think this category might be one of the least predictable ones in the entire thing.
So let's call it. Let's everyone put your vote in. Leading actress in a play.
I think this is hands down going to Cicely Tyson. This role is hers. She's been dreaming of playing this role for years, and she just nails it.
I think that Cicely Tyson is amazing, but I think that there's a great energy around Christine Nielsen's performance in Vanya and Sonia, Masha and Spike. If she were featured, there'd be no competition. It'd be her Tony.
I agree. I think Christine could win. And I think the shout out to Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah.
I mean, brilliant.
Brilliant.
That's
I
a
think
great
that
performance.
I think that race would be tighter if the other place were still running.
Absolutely.
I think because Laurie Metcalf had all of the wind at her back. I feel like in the
Yeah.
beginning, and then as soon as Christine came on and Cicely came on, they kind of sucked all that energy away.
Make your pick. So let's talk about best original score. An exciting race. I think Cyndi Lauper is going to get it because I have woken up every day for the last 3 weeks with one of those songs in my head. I mean, that music is crazy infectious. I mean, you talk about someone who can write pop hits.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
See, I don't think the Kinky Boots score sounds like a Broadway score. I feel like the Matilda score, Tim Minchin's score, is a Broadway score. His songs, When I Grow Up, Revolting Children, those are songs that I haven't been able to get out of my head.
Both scores are great. Both definitely great. I pick Cyndi Lauper.
I think it's Cyndi Lauper's year. So everybody say yeah, let's figure it out. While we're talking new musical writing, let's talk about book of a musical.
I feel like Cinderella really did something very gutsy with their book. I love the idea of updating it and kind of creating this whole new dynamic, especially between Cinderella and Prince Charming. I love this idea. I think Douglas Carter Bean could win, yeah.
I agree with her. I think that if Pippin wins Best Revival, Cinderella could be recognized by Douglas Carter Bean's amazing work in reinventing it.
I think that Matilda is a lock, actually.
say
I
that.
think
I
that
agree.
when you look at the structured Matilda, and I think it's wildly creative in terms of the writing of the book.
And keeping Roald Dahl's tone.
Yeah.
So that you
Yes.
can't
Yeah.
really tell what is Dennis Kelly and what is Roald Dahl, which I think is really difficult to do.
Yeah.
I think Harvey Fierstein, Kinky Boots, it has a heart to it, has a message. It's got a very updated message about bullying, and it's really, it's, believe me, I think Harvey might win.
You can never count out Harvey Fierstein in a Tony race.
Never count her out.
So now everyone actually pick who you think will win, and let's tell everyone. Let's talk about featured actress in a play, can we?
I believe that Shalita Grant will win. because
Vanya and Sonia and Masha and
she-
Spike.
She steals the entire show from seasoned scene stealers.
Judith Light seems so obvious. That role is sensational, and she's sensational in it. She's been nominated 3 seasons in a row. She won last season. She might win again this one.
I also want to mention like Condola Rashad. I love Condola Rashad. I loved her in Stick Fly. I love her. To me, she was the highlight of Trip to Bountiful, not Cicely Tyson. In her one little moment.
I would love to see Condola win because I think that performance was so understated and yet she
Yeah.
did so much with it. The depth that she had on stage was just magnificent and I'd really love to see that.
Let's make our decisions. Featured actress in a play. Let's talk about directors. Director of a play.
That's about the most obvious one of the entire night.
Who is it?
George C. Wolfe.
I don't
He
agree.
made that show what it is.
Lucky guy.
Lucky Guy by the late great Nora Ephron.
What about Nicholas Martin for Vanya and Sonia and Masha?
Well,
and
he
stuff?
would be the sentimental favorite because I think he's a fabulous director. He gets Christopher Durang's humor, and he's beloved in the community. So yes, but to me, as far as taking a script and putting it up on a Broadway stage and transforming it and being the person that is the most responsible for the success of the evening, to me, that's George C. Wolfe.
My pick is on Pam McKinnon, who really elevated Virginia Woolf from a show we all know and love to a show we know better and love more. I really think Pam McKinnon could slide in and take that Tony. That she also should have won for Clybourne Park. So this is a nice way to reward her work for Clybourne Park.
Okay, so those are sort of the top picks. Let's actually make a call on this. While we're thinking about directors, let's talk about musical directors.
I think this is, although everyone did great work, this is a two-way race between Diane Paulus reinventing Pippin or Matthew Warchus giving us this beautiful production of Matilda. I think that it should go to Diane Paulus.
You walk out of there knowing the director's work. It's very clear what Diane Paulus did. I mean, it's very showy in that way.
This is her best work to date, I think. I think this is Diane Paulus.
She did Hair and Per Game Best, let's be very clear.
Which are two other musicals that she completely reinvented and reinvigorated.
I think Diane Paulus is going to win, but I just want to shout out one more time to Matthew Warchus, because dealing with all of those, a cast of children, and a cast of adults playing in some scenes children, which could be very difficult to watch.
It's a beautiful production,
it's
Matilda.
A gorgeous
I mean,
production, and it was his
just
vision.
Beautiful piece of art.
Yeah. So I think it's really, as you said, between them, but I think Diane has got the edge.
Okay. Well, let's figure it out. Everyone, cast your vote. Featured actress in a musical.
The lock is Andrea Martin in Pippin. It just has to be what she does.
Standing ovation every night, mid-show.
Every single night.
Mid-show.
Yes, and people just leap to their feet. I was part of it, you know, I couldn't wait to stand for her, and I've never done that before. So it's guaranteed Andrea Martin for Pippin.
This is one of those performances that when you see it, you just go, okay, just engraving. Anna Lee Ashford is adorable, and she's been adorable in a few shows now, and everyone's noticing her now. It'd be a great moment to see her win, but I think it's Andrea's award. Okay, so everyone, write down Andrea Martin. Make your pick for Andrea Martin. Now let's do featured actor in a play.
I'm going with Richard Kind for The Big Knife. He has two big moments in that show, and his final just sort of tirade against Charlie Castle, Bobby Cannavale's character, is just breathtaking. And you sort of lean back in your seat and you just let him eat the scenery up there. When you come down for it, you like, oh, you're going to be rewarded for that. That was excellent.
I would also consider Courtney B. Vance. This is his third nomination, I believe. He holds his own against Tom Hanks, which is really a hard thing to do because he's freaking Tom Hanks. So I would say it's between Richard Kind or Courtney B. Vance, but I wouldn't count out the Golden Boy.
I want to say I love Tony Shalhoub in Golden Boy. That was one of my favorite performances of the year. I thought it so moving.
And oddly, I think the conventional wisdom is with Danny Burstein, just because we all love
Danny Burstein. We all love Danny Burstein.
It's Danny Burstein.
Danny Burstein should have won for Volleys.
Absolutely.
And he didn't, and I hope people remember that.
If Danny Burstein were to win, I'd like to see him win for a big, splashy musical show rather than
It was a small role.
Yeah. I would love for Danny Burstein to win his first Tony. I would like it to be for a major musical.
But it does happen. It does happen that people get their award for something almost incidental compared to their mammoth roles. It's happened in the past.
It certainly wouldn't be undeserved if Danny Burstein won.
Okay, so let's all pick who we think will win. Lead actor in a play. Let's do this. This is a good one. I think Tom Hanks is going to get it. I think that's the way to honor Lucky Guy.
It was a wonderful Broadway debut.
I just want to say Nathan Lane in The Nance is one of my favorite performances of the year. And for me, like, one of the greatest performances of his career.
Nathan Lane is going to win. At the same time, Tracy Letts.
He's the dark horse. That's a really tough
that's
role.
a wow.
That's a marathon role.
performance.
Yeah.
But Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks.
Nathan Lane needs to win this Tony. He has earned it.
And it would also honor the play. The play didn't even get nominated.
But the fact that it didn't get nominated leads us back to Tom Hanks.
That's right.
Okay, well let's call it then.
It does.
Everyone, pick your vote. Okay, actress in a musical. This is always an amazing race. So let's look at this year's contenders.
I'm not sure how much love Cinderella as a whole will get at this year's Tonys, but I do think the award for Best Actress in a Musical will easily go to Laura Osnes. Laura deserves this Tony for Cinderella.
I would love Carolee Carmelo to win. She deserves,
And I could see that actually happening.
She deserves a Tony Award. This woman has been through the mud with half of these musicals that she's been in. She always is nominated because she's always the highlight.
Bettina Miller is giving a dazzling performance in Pippin. I didn't know she could do that. She could sort of steal Laura's thunder. It could happen.
Let me go back to Laura, though. She carries that show
Right.
on her back.
Right.
That is a hard show.
Yeah.
Well, she makes you love this character.
Yeah.
You really care.
Tina could absolutely triumph out of the whole thing. She could. It's a very classic role, and every song is a showstopper.
It's a Tony-winning role.
Tough category. So everyone, let's pen to paper. Let's figure it out. Let's talk about the musical revivals. 4 great musical revivals.
I think without a doubt, this is an award for Pippin.
Yeah.
It's just reinventing this already classic, beloved musical and just taking it to a completely different world. It almost adds like an extra layer to what I thought my understanding of Pippin already was. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I get that musical. I know
Yeah.
what I'm gonna
I had
be
the same
for.
experience.
Yeah, and then I came in and I was just completely, I have a new love for Pippin.
Cinderella was one of the best times I've had at the theater all season long. Like, I just loved that show.
They're both great, but I'm going to say Cinderella.
Okay, Bruce is saying Cinderella. Let's figure out what everyone else is saying. Let's do this. The 2 big categories are left. Let's do Best Play.
I think this is Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike. I think it's gonna win. It's just one of the most clever things you can see on Broadway right now, and it's fantastic.
Vanya and Sonia, Masha and Spike started at the McCarter. It was off Broadway, now it's on Broadway. This show endures. People love it, they love it everywhere. Lucky Guy has the privilege of being Nora Ephron's last work and starring Tom Hanks and having George C. Wolfe. Without those ingredients, would Lucky Guy be the front runner for Best Play? Probably not.
Kathy, what do you think?
I think the Nance should have been nominated.
Absolutely. Hallelujah. The Nance. We love the Nance.
Christopher Durang has such a long and wonderful career, and most of it hasn't been on Broadway.
Yeah.
I think lots and lots of people would like to see him go up to that stage and take the Best Play Tony.
Vanya, Sonia, Masha, and Spike was literally laugh out loud.
LOL.
I mean, LOLOLOL.
I feel like some people might want to see Nora Ephron have a Tony.
Yes,
Posthumously.
you're right.
That could happen.
Oh, easily.
Okay, well let's make our pick. Okay, here it is, the big one. Best Musical. Let's talk about Best Musical.
It's definitely between Kinky Boots and Matilda, hands down. And it's really, it could go either way. Kinky Boots bleeds Broadway. It's splashy and it's fun and it's big and it's bright and colorful. It's everything you want Broadway to be. So my money is on Kinky Boots.
If you had asked me this in March, I would have said Matilda.
Right.
But Kinky Boots has run a really smart,
Amazing
really
marketing
vibrant
campaign. Yeah, yeah.
And Matilda got an over-the-top, crazy rave in the New York Times, and I think there's a little backlash against that because it was so over-the-top. It did win the Olivier in London. I don't know. Kinky Boots
There's-
is homegrown, and there's something about
There's
that.
something so warm and cuddly about Kinky Boots. Matilda's a brilliant piece of art, but Kinky Boots just sort of like grabs the audience and it's like, come on, let's have fun. We got drag queens.
I don't think everyone's going to forget what a juggernaut Matilda actually is, and I think it's still, it is a child's imagination in toy box busted open on stage, and I think it can be just as satisfying and touching and sentimental as Kinky Boots is. So I wouldn't count Matilda out at all.
I love Matilda. It was great.
2 great musicals, only 1 award. So let's figure out who's going to get it. Now we're going to scroll through some of the design categories and tell you who we think is coming out on top. We got through it. We figured it out. I'm sure we got some wrong, so don't bet the house on any of this. So good luck and congratulations, we got through it.